I feel good. I feel great, actually. Um, don't feel like a 37-year-old. Not sure what they're supposed to feel like, but I feel like I feel a little younger. I think just over time, you start to understand, like, as males, as we get older, things start to change. And I think you got to pay a little bit more attention to what you put in your body, how you treat your body. But I just think more so than me just being a football player, I think it's just a natural maturation of a human being. It's like when you get older, you can't do the same things you did when you was 22, 21, 24, so in those ways, yes.
Trent, how do you keep it fresh? After all these years, like the All Pros and Pro Bowls, how do you prepare for the season? Do you focus on certain aspects of the game you want to improve on, or just how's your overall approach?
I mean, my overall approach really is just to just try to be ready physically. Like you said, I played a lot of snaps, so it's probably nothing that's going to surprise me when I get out there on the field, but it's just being ready to consistently do the same thing, play after play for, from now into February, hopefully. So, I try not to put too much pressure on myself. I just try to make sure I'm prepared and I go out there and just play football. I love to compete, so when I'm in that mode, when my cleats on the grass, to me, I feel like, like I'm a rookie, just because of how I approach and how I just love to play,
Trent, compared to last season, obviously you spent some time away during training camp, being back in it, everyone is actually there and participating. Do you feel that there has any difference going into this season, or it doesn't really have an effect at all?
I don't know. I wasn't here last year to see the difference, but it's always good when you can have everybody in attendance. I know for myself, that was my, first time that I played football without a training camp, so that was pretty different for me. But I like training camp. I like the camaraderie you build with your teammates, and it's 90 guys, so you get to know a lot of people, and obviously when they cut down to 53, those guys leave, but they become lifetime friends. So that's, to me, I just feel like that's the thing that you gain the most with having everybody around. Obviously everybody got their business decisions to make, but I didn't see how it was last year, but I know this year it feels good. The morale is up, and pleased to see everybody.
To kind of follow up on that with camaraderie that's being built, is there any emphasis on building camaraderie, being there's so many new faces and so many young guys on the team on both sides?
No, I think it naturally happens. We just spend so much time around each other around this time of the year that it just naturally happens. You see somebody 12 hours a day for 3 weeks straight, you're gonna get to know them pretty well. So no emphasis on it, but it's just the way things work out when you're in the locker room.
What were your first impressions going up against Trent Williams in practice, and then also just reigniting going against Bill?
Yeah. Kel's a huge dude, man. Generally don't see guys that size on the edge. So, it sucks having base block guys with arms, long as your legs. But, I think he has a chance to be a really good player in this NFL. I think he has a chance to be dominant. He has the best coach in the league pushing him. Get to learn from some of the best guys to learn from, obviously Nick. So I'm happy to see how he turned out. I think he got all the tools to be an All-Pro. And obviously going against Nick, I think we feed off each other so much, and he makes me better. I like to feel like I make him better. He keeps me engaged. He keeps me, working on myself, because nobody likes to get embarrassed. He's one of them players that, not in a mean way, but yeah, he would embarrass me if I let him, and that's just him making me better. And so it's always good going against Nick, one of my better friends on the team, but obviously one of the best players in the league, and being able to size yourself up against him, especially me going into 16 and, not knowing where that cliff is. When I get to go off against Nick, it kind of gives me a good measuring stick.
Does Mike help remind anyone?
Um, yeah and no. Size-wise, he kind of puts you in the mind of a young DeForest Buckner. But obviously he's a little more slight in the frame, can play the edge, can play outside, inside. Um, so in a sense, he does, but, I think he has his own makeup that kind of makes him different as well. So, like I said, he's an intriguing prospect. Just watching him the first few days, he looks promising. So, just can't wait to see where he end up. Yeah, of course. Me and Michael hung out in Cabo for a little bit, so just about a month ago. So yeah, that's me. I like to build a relationship with everybody, not just the O-line. At all positions. Just take advantage, man. I understand that although my career has been pretty long, but I understand that it's not supposed to be. It's a pretty short career to have, and I just try to take advantage and soak it up, and build relationships that I know will last a lifetime.
You said that this team wants to prove people wrong. Do you feel like after last year, you guys have to reestablish the power that you are?
I don't know. I don't think that's a bad way to think about it. I don't necessarily think about it like that. I just think it's so much turnover in this league. Like, who are we really proving it to? So a lot of the guys we played are last year on different teams, and we play different teams this year. It's really, we got a standard, and the challenge is to uphold the standard. It's not really to prove anybody wrong, but just to get back to playing 49er football, playing it our way and the way that we know how to play, which has been dominant the last few years, and that's just what we got to get back to. I don't think it has anything to do with proving anybody wrong.
How have training camps changed since you first came into the league in terms of how that
Yeah, there's definitely a huge emphasis on taking care of the players, managing reps, not running them in the ground. Although I did get lucky because I had Mike Shanahan my first few years in the league, and although two-a-days were legal, he didn't believe in two-a-days. So I kind of got lucky with that. So I'm not going to sit up here and gripe like back in my days we would have did, because I didn't have it that hard. But it's definitely a bigger emphasis on just taking care of the players, managing the reps, trying to, obviously everybody's so concerned with injuries and trying to keep players healthy. So I think that's the biggest difference from now and then.
One of the team's big signings was Luke Farrell. What does he bring to the mix?
Say that again?
One of the team's big signings was Luke Farrell. What does he bring to the mix?
I hope he bring, what all our tight ends bring, which is huge blocking presence and being able to catch the ball and make plays. Obviously we just started, we're on day 2, so haven't seen all that he has to offer, but just from my early initial, the way I look at it, the way I see him, I feel like he's a big guy, can really block. He's going to give us versatility. Obviously running a 2 tight end sets, probably can line up at fullback. That's just what I see at this point. But I would give myself a dissertation on technique, and you know what I'm saying, just learning how to be consistent, knowing the playbook, something that I didn't even have big emphasis on when I was a rookie. So trust me, I would have a 5-hour-long conversation with myself if I could go back 16 years. But to answer your question, it's a lot of stuff I would tell myself. One thing in particular, you want to hear football or just life? Yeah, life. Just never get too high, never get too low. Just try to, find the good in all the bad, and when it's good, it can be better. So never getting too high, never getting too low, and just understanding the way that this league works. It's a business, and although you have to create relationships and friends, and for that, but at the end of the day, you can't lose sight that it's a business. Of course.
How were you and Michael Williams in Cabo? Did you invite him, or was it random? And then, second, when you talked about the cliff, there anyone else you can talk to about, like, how do I know when it's close, or, you know, what does it feel like when you go off the field?
Yeah, that's a great question, honestly. To answer your first question, Michael told me he was going to Cabo because he had asked to use my plane, so that's kind of how we. And I was like, you know, I'm actually be out there at the same time, so he came over to the house. We kicked it a few times, so that was kind of how that happened. And as far as talking to retired players about where that cliff comes, I haven't, and I'm not saying that wouldn't be a good idea. I didn't think about it like that because I just figured that, you know, we all have a different path, and my cliff might happen different than somebody else's, or, you know, some people don't never hit a cliff. They just want to retire on top. You know, it just depends. You know, for me, I love to compete so much, and, you know, that I probably don't see myself stopping with effective football left in the tank. But, you know, I just always thought that I would know, like, when I go out there and I don't feel the same, I would be honest with myself, just because of, you know, I don't want to tarnish my legacy and what I have done, but, you know, I don't want to be selfish either and make the team worse, you know, by being here. So it's kind of how I look at it. Yeah, asked a lot, yeah. It's probably one of the most frequently asked questions.
Right end was attached to the core, and I jumped out instead of doing my jobbing. You know, I had the stick of 3, and so I told myself the next time I see that formation, I'm going to make a play, and, you know, yesterday was the play, and I was able to see it and execute on it. Yeah, it means the world. It gives me confidence to go out there and, you know, just give me that mindset that, you know, I'm here to compete just as everybody else is, but just to have him on my side has been amazing.
Is there a danger at all that try to be the guy that has to replace Dre Greenlaw, or just have to be Dee Winters and go from there?
No, at the end of the day, you know, I think it's more important to play, you know, as who I am and as Dee Winters, and, you know, just go out there and do my job and play my style of football.
What kind of influence was Dre that you got to watch him over the last 2 years?
Man, he was a great example of how to play the will linebacker. Downhill, fast, can cover. He can do it all, and that's something, you know, that I need to keep implementing in my game and moving forward.
Coach has said that now is your best opportunity that you've had to kind of get yourself out in front and shine, you know, with that position. Knowing that, how are you kind of focused on coming into the season? Any different from seasons past, or?
No, not at all. My preparation is still the same. The only thing that's really changed is just my recovery process and, you know, studying more. But other than that, everything's the same mindset, and that's coming in, working hard, giving, you know, every day I got to the most of my ability.
What's the biggest thing you changed in the recovery process? We were talking about injuries.
Yep.
As a young guy, can you pull you back a little bit?
Well, I think just getting in the room with Elliott, doing, you know, movement stuff, I think that's really huge, and it's not accounted for in most of people's, you know, rehab or recovery process. And I realized, you know, that's a huge part of it. That's what's kind of making me feel good right now.
When you look back at last season, what did you take away from that? I'm sure it was some frustration, maybe the injuries and things like that.
Yeah.
What were things that you gained that could help you?
I think I gained a little bit of a game experience. You know, being, you know, one of the oldest guys now in the room, my 3rd year with Jalen and a couple of older guys. But I think it's just giving me experience to go out there and, you know, if I see something, I can play, you know, to the best of my ability.
Two challenges playing having 3 coordinators in 3 years.
Nothing really. I mean, we've been doing the same thing for 3 years, so I wouldn't say it's anything.
Did any of the leaders coming into this season, you know, mention anything about last year, how it went, how you just have to wash that?
I mean, no, nobody's really living in the past. I think this is a new team. Everyone has the mindset to go get better and you know, prove everybody wrong this year.
What has struck you about Robert Saleh?
Just his tenacity, his intensity, just how he coaches. He's very intense. We're going to do it his way, and it's going to be that way, and there's no confusion. So I love that about him. He's a great coach, and I'm looking forward to working with him.
One who was drafted at the spot competing for it and competition in that way. How do you, I guess, embrace just that aspect of
I mean, yeah, it's good to have competition. You know, I'm here for Nick if he ever needs any help, you know, learning the wheel position. But like you said, at the end of the day, it's a competition, and I'm very excited for it.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Thank y'all.